We're going to take a closer look at 15 stocks that had a massive opportunity thanks to artificial intelligence, thanks to companies like Nvidia, and thanks to the massive power constraint happening in the AI data center world. Now, we recently had companies like Coreweave report earnings, and they mentioned one thing. Right now, the major choke point of artificial intelligence is powered shells. Now, we're going to take a closer look at these power shells and companies that no one is taking a look at. So let's take a closer look in today's episode. All right, so if you've been following my channel, you guys are familiar that I focus mainly in the AI space. And today's episode is not going to be anything like a buy or sell type episode. We're going to look at 15 companies that no one is discussing. Maybe some of them, maybe the first few you might have heard a little bit about, but these are powered shells companies. And for those that are not familiar with power shell companies, let's think of a massive data center. What is a massive data center? A data center is first an infrastructure of buildings and power utilities, and then it's kind of built up and put on with some form of compute power, being either a lot of GPUs, and you kind of create an AI data center. So the power shells is pretty much just an empty data center with no kind of compute or GPUs, but has the power infrastructure already there. And that is the massive bottleneck right now, right? It takes time to build data centers. It takes time to kind of get and put all these utilities into there to finally turn everything on. And right now in this AI data center race that we're seeing thanks to companies like Nvidia creating this new technology and kind of pushing this technology to new levels, you're seeing all these massive AI players just trying to build as much data centers as possible. But there is that limitations. And like we saw, Coreweave kind of talked about it in their most recent earnings. So the first company we're going to take a closer look at is Terowolf. And this is going to be the most popular right now. So this is ticker WULF. So if we look at Terowolf year to date, the stock is up roughly 64%. Now, most of those returns are actually happening in the last few days. Pretty much in the last 5 days, the stock is up roughly 78%. The main reason is Google just announced an 8% stake in Wolf, and there was also a 10-year lease signed with FluidStack for about a nice amount of hundreds of megawatts of power. So this kind of solidifies what we just heard from Coreweave during their earnings, that power shells are the major constraint. So you're going to see these massive amount of investments and contracts as companies want to make sure they have enough power infrastructure for the future. So that's the first one. The second one we're going to take a closer look at is Riot. And we can see Riot has a market cap of roughly $4.2 billion. Now, Terowolf had a market cap of about $3.5 billion. Now, Riot, and one thing that we're going to see is a lot of these power shells have kind of come from Bitcoin miners or crypto miners, because at the end of the day, crypto miners, they are kind of building data centers. They're building this infrastructure. They need to have this massive power utilities and all cooling infrastructure available as it as well. So you're seeing kind of these digital miners and this digital crypto miners transition a little bit more into the AI space. Now, Riot platform kind of falls within there. Year to date, the stock is up roughly 8%. We can see from its overall low, though, the stock is up nearly 100%. Now, first thing we're seeing is this company is investing a lot in capital expenditure. They kind of talk about some of the different expansions that they're doing throughout the upcoming years, and where kind of a lot of that money's talk is going to. They kind of talk about kind of the 600 megawatts and the different type of power solutions that are coming here. So this is where they want to progress, right? This is they're doing Bitcoin, and they want to kind of move on to kind of maybe future AI solutions. Now, the great thing here is we're going to learn about a lot of companies, and I don't have time to look at every single financials. It will be a 3-hour episode. Again, I'm just providing the top level overview. But the great thing is you can use this platform, fiscal.ai, and I have a promotional offer at fiscal.ai/Jose for 15% off. It's, in my opinion, one of the cheapest platforms out there to get a lot of information for long-term investors. I mean, here for Riot platforms, while they don't talk too much about AI, I went to the AI summary of their most recent earnings transcript, and I kind of talked about, do they talk about AI potential discussion. And they mentioned that yes, the CEO is not pivoting into AI high performance computing initiatives for a quick deal, but it's looking for things that make sense. So they're willing and open and curious to it. Again, I was able to get this information. The links are down below. But number 2 is going to be Riot Platform. Now, number 3 is going to be another popular one, Iron. So this is ticker IREN. The stock is up about 88% year to date, market cap of roughly $4.4 billion. Now, they are really focusing here on AI at scale. We can see the different types of infrastructures they have in Canada. They're building a massive data centers here down in Texas. Some are under development. So there is the opportunity there for Iron. So they are expected to, it seems like they might have just reported earnings, so investors are going to be pretty excited about that. But this is company number 3. Now, if we look at company number 4, is going to be Core Scientific. This is a company with a market cap of $4.3 billion. We're seeing kind of the trend here. Most of these are going to be in the low $1 billion, and most of these are going to be transforming from either a Bitcoin miner into entering the AI compute space and the AI rental. And I want to say it's not as easy as doing it, and that's kind of one of the execution risks that comes with it, right? If you do it wrong, if you kind of try to do it pretty quickly, if you make some mistakes, companies are going to say, look, I don't want to work with you because you're being sloppy, and that could create kind of bearish sentiment. So right now we can see Core Scientific year to date is actually down 2.4%. Now, Core Scientific actually has done has seen a lot of AI push already. For example, on July 7th, Coreweave is mentioned to acquire Core Scientific. The company is going to get the value of about 1.12%. Let's see if we can find it here. So they will receive 0.1235% of Coreweave shares. Now, Core Scientific, we can see they do have a lot of data center infrastructure here in the United States, and that's what Coreweave wants to buy from them. Now, I do want to say with the current conversion, if one is excited about Core Scientific, Coreweave stock is actually cheaper than the current price of Core Scientific if you kind of do that reverse math on how much it's going to be giving. So there is kind of an arbitrary trade, and right now it's on Coreweave's favor opposed to Core's favor if you believe the acquisition will go through. Now, the next stock, I don't know what stock we're in right now, but this is going to be Mara Holdings, ticker MARA. Right now, they're sitting at a market cap of $5.8 billion. We can see right now they have about 1.1 gigawatts capacity with up to 1.7 gigawatts of upside. Now, again, most of these are going to be focusing in the Bitcoin or some form of crypto mining, but they are transforming or moving a little bit into the AI race. One of the great things about Mara right here is they recently announced a form of investment where they signed an investment agreement allowing Mara to acquire 64% stake in Exion, a subsidiary of EDF. The agreement provides Mara the option to increase its ownership of Exion up to 75%. Now, Exion develops and operates high-performance computing, data centers, and provides secure cloud and AI infrastructure in partnership with key players like Nvidia, Deloitte, and 2CRSI. So we can see that maybe they didn't have the management position to kind of focus in the AI data center. And that's why I kind of talk about the execution risk. You can't just transform your business overnight and expect everything to do well. A few things that we're going to see, maybe changes of leadership, maybe small acquisitions to grab talent to make it a little bit more exciting there. But Mara here, I do like this. And this is going to be one of the stocks that I mentioned I'm going to kind of share in my list. Like I mentioned at the end of this episode, I'm going to talk about some of the stocks that I want to do a little bit more deep dive in. But Mara, mainly because of this kind of acquisition of Exion and kind of improving its overall talent in the high performance computing data center market, gives me a little bit more, you should look at that a little bit more. Next, we're going to look at Cipher Mining, ticker CIFR. Market cap of roughly $2 billion. Now, Cipher, we can see that they have current operations of 477 megawatts with a pipeline growth of 2.6 gigawatts potentially at 7 sites. Now, all that is going to take a while. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens in multiple years, but we can see this is a company that is focusing in high performance computing. Advanced tenant discussion at their Barber Lake site and the Black Pearl. These are the ones that are expected to be pretty big and are going to design to support both hydro BTC mining and high performance computing workloads. So this is a massive player, and we can kind of see how AI data center companies are really pushing into having these forms of power shells. Now, the next company we're going to take a closer look at is Applied Digital Corporation, APLD. Now, this is one that I do own, current market cap of $3.7 billion. Now, they do have a lot of data centers for high performance computing here in the United States. Now, they have a massive investments with companies like OpenAI and with Coreweave, I believe. Here we're going to see that Applied Digital announces a 250 megawatts AI data center lease with Coreweave in North Dakota. Now, outside of that, the next one we're going to look at is Digital, BTBT. So this is a market cap of $963 million. Now, Digital, this is another one that actually falls in the list that I might be curious on learning more. In the crypto market, they don't really focus on Bitcoin. They actually focus more on Ethereum. And the other thing is they actually have an acquisition of a recent IPO, White Fiber, and they own a nice amount of shares. I think here they talk about it. They own about 74% ownership in a valuable public AI infrastructure company. Now, this is actually how I found White Fiber, by looking at this form of presentation. And again, if you want to learn more, make sure to join that partnership with Fiscal.ai. You get 15% off, and you'll be able to do a lot of the research of them individually. Also, if you are enjoying the content, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 75,000 by the end of this year. We're already at 74,300, so I think we're going to do it. In theory, my birthday is August 29th, so about 2 weeks from now. If we can hit 75,000 before my birthday, that would be awesome. I truly would appreciate it. But now, here if we look at Digital, like I mentioned, ticker BTBT, they're focused on Bitcoin mining, Ethereum stacking, and then with this White Fiber, where they own 75% of the company, focuses on cloud services and data center. Now, Digital is one I'm actually curious about. Now, the company, White Fiber, is a recent IPO. It actually IPO'd on August 7th, and its ticker Wi-Fi, WYFI. Right now, the market cap seems to be about $600 million. Now, this is one that focuses on AI infrastructure company, vertically integrated AI solutions. It's a brand new company. They don't even have an investor presentation on their website, so that's something to kind of consider, but I actually like this a lot. This is one of those growth opportunities. So Digital and Wi-Fi or White Fiber are two also on that list. Next, we have Bitfarms, ticker BITF. This is a Canadian company, but you can trade it under the NASDAQ. It has about a market cap of 980 million Canadian dollars. Now, year to date, the stock is down roughly 21%. Now, they are growing the future of digital infrastructure for Bitcoin mining, and you guessed it, high performance computing and AI. Again, one of the big risks here is, just like you remember with any type of era, people just try to change their names or just say that they're working on something like that just to get the excitement for more finances and more money. And that's why right now we're just looking at a top level of the company, but it's important to go and do more information, understanding leadership, understanding management. But here, if we look at Bitfarms, they recently did partner with T5 data centers to advance high performance computing AI development at the Panther Creek campus in Pennsylvania. And this is what gets me excited, right? If you are a Bitcoin miner, there's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with acquiring talent or partnering up with talents in the data center market to increase the chances of you doing well. Now, next, we're going to look at CleanSpark, ticker CLSK. So CleanSpark Inc. with a market cap of $2.7 billion. Now, CleanSpark is a bit interesting. They mentioned that they are a market leader in pure play, Bitcoin miner. So here they talk about they are not Bitcoin miners who figured out power. They were energy professionals who saw the future of Bitcoin. Now, this is a company that I'm going to say is a bit interesting to watch. It doesn't have too much AI and high performance compute goals. It does seem like their leadership is more focused on Bitcoin, and that's where they're really sticking to it. But if we go here to fiscal.ai, they kind of talk about some of the recent discussions they had on August 7th. They talked about AI, but mainly they're seeing that a lot of miners are repurposing infrastructure for AI compute complex. They don't really want to do that. They want to remain focused on Bitcoin mining, which they view as a proven and scalable business. And the reason with not transforming into high performance computing is they highlighted challenges of one, higher capital intensity, right? You need to continue to invest in it, customer uncertainty, and the rapidly evolving hardware environment that can threaten projected return on investment. So it's not an easy thing. It's that execution risk that I've been talking about. But CleanSpark is saying, look, we don't think about doing anything like that, but they remain, however, they acknowledge that if they do get great offers and it makes sense for their investors, that they wouldn't be opposed to it either. So focusing mainly on Bitcoin. If there's a great offer, they might move on to maybe giving some of their power to other solutions as well. So that was interesting, and I really do like how management is sticking to what they believe instead, and not just following the trend. Next, we're going to look at Hive Digital, ticker HIVE, another Canadian company with about 708 million Canadian market cap. Year to date, the stock is down roughly 28%. Now, they kind of talk about here, they're focusing on high performance computing and AI, vertically integrated tier 3 data centers for private GPU cloud services in high performance computing and generative AI. They have over 5,000 Nvidia GPUs performing AI workloads in Canada and Sweden, and they are an Nvidia cloud partner and preferred Nvidia AI. So they do have some partnerships there. Now, and honestly, I don't know why Hive gives me a little bit of interesting, maybe not good, interesting gut reaction, but I think I might want to do a little bit more research on it to make sure I'm right. Next, we have Hut 8 Corporation, ticker HUT, market cap of roughly $2.5 billion. Year to date, the stock is up 6.5%. So here we can see theme 3 for them is executing a scale through their development flywheel. They're building data centers to kind of focus on infrastructure for AI solutions and liquid cool GPU infrastructure. They are they're having initial customer discussions to support emerging AI workloads and customer needs. Next, we have BTDR Technologies, ticker BTDR, market cap of roughly $2.6 billion. This is a Singapore company. This is one that they do have a lot of data center capacity, and here in the United States, in Norway, in Canada as well. Some of them are completed, some are to be completed later on throughout the year and next year as well. Now, with this one, again, we can see that they're also mainly focusing on Bitcoin mining, but they do kind of want to move a little bit into the high performance computing world. Now, the final company that I want to talk about is probably one that I don't want to get too excited about or kind of discuss too much, because it is a true super small player. It is Mawson Infrastructure Group, Miji. This is one with a market cap of less than $10 million. There's probably people out here in this channel that could probably buy this company, right? So it's a penny stock. I'm just here bringing information. So Miji does have a nice amount of data center power infrastructure solutions in Pennsylvania, supportedly about 130 megawatts or so. Now, again, this is not a buy or sell recommendation on any of these stocks. These are just a list of stocks that have the potential to grow, especially thanks to this AI factory momentum. Now, I did mention that I would talk about which stocks I would love to do a little bit more research on. Mara is going to be one of them. Cypher, BT, BITF, and CLSK. Maybe Hut 8. But right now, I do have those 5. I also put cores, but more like the Coreweave aspect of it, because I mentioned Coreweave. I think it's looking a little bit cheap right now. But Mara, Cypher, BT, BitF and CLSK are the ones, not saying they're recommendations for me, but they caught my eye with what I read, and now I want to do a deeper dive on them. If any of these, or if you guys know any of these that we looked at, these 15, let me know in the comments below if there's one that I missed that maybe I should truly take a closer look at right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs and the subscribe button. Take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.